So in special and general relativity, a light cone is the path that is created when light emanates from a single point in space, a single point in time. So you can imagine this as a circle, right? Like you have light inside of a two-dimensional place, just like this board that I have here. It's a two-dimensional board. And if light were to emanate in all directions from a single point in space and in time, you would get a circle, then you would get a circle, then you would get a larger circle. Obviously, this would make a cone. It would make a cone if this was in 2 dimensions. And then we brought it up to a 3-dimensional representation. We would have a cone. So this is your future light cone, and this is your past light cone. So in other words, this is your fate, and this is your past. Anything within here can only travel at the speed of light. This is your hypersurface of the present. You can't actually interact with anything that is here, because at most you can move at the speed of light. Remember, this light started propagating from here like a circle. In reality, we live in 3 spatial dimensions. So it wouldn't be a circle. It would actually be a sphere. So if I was going to propagate light from a single point in space and time right now, at the snap of my fingers, it would be a sphere, because that's all directions, right? That would be a sphere. And it would form a 4-dimensional cone. So we just use this to visualize it, but in reality, the cross-sections wouldn't be circles. The cross-sections would be entire spheres, right? They would be entire spheres, and then a larger sphere. But we can't visualize 4-dimensional cones so well, except as this concept of its cross-sections are spheres. It's not that complicated, but the visualization would be more complicated. 4-dimensional cone. But what's this all about? Why does this matter? It matters because general relativity is beyond debate. General relativity is used for our GPS system. General relativity, we have gravitational lensing when we look about the stars, so light is bent. These are all implications. Time dilation and the bending of the curvature of space-time itself are seen, and we have gravitational waves detected. So we can't just pick and choose what we like and then go and dissect theory. General relativity clearly implies that there is no universal now. There is no universal now which is sweeping forward for all observers. Each observer is defined from his own reference frame. So that house that I see over there is its own location right there, with its own future light cone and past light cone. And the reason it finds itself in my reality is because I'm within its light cone. So the only way that causality can even be defined within special relativity is by being bounded by light itself, by the speed of light itself. You have to find yourself. In fact, when, let's say this is me, this is the observer, me, we tend to call this the observer or event, E. These are used synonymously. In fact, I am a whole bunch of other little points. The real me is an entire computation in a brain, so it takes time for light to go from one neuron to the next, and that would make me stretched out as this 4-dimensional object there, which it actually is me. I wouldn't actually be a point, but for all intents and purposes, I'm a point, because those causally related events are so close together, we might as well say the observer is the point right there. So yeah, this is important because this reveals that we are part of an eternal block, which is just already there. The future is already there, the past is already there, because in fact, as you move through space-time, your hypersurface of the present can contain very different, it could be slanted like this. So as you move, you are slanting your hypersurface of the present. So you can imagine that there's going to be like really, really far away, there's going to be like some alien over there. There's going to be some alien in that hypersurface of the present, which is just as real from his perspective. How could you say he doesn't exist, or it doesn't exist? Whereas in fact it does. And my hypersurface of the present, relative to someone walking down the street, is going to contain other events very different from his. In fact, that very same person who is walking down the street is not in the same present as me in any global sense. There is just no such thing in the universe as a global present which corresponds to our intuition about it. And that's just a fact. So that's the first important thing you have to learn.